What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 10 of the fragrances I am looking to wear. Looking forward to be wearing in the spring. I live in Buffalo, so that means I am not getting spring anytime soon. But I know in other parts of the world, like Florida, like I used to live in Florida, that's where my family's from. Spring is pretty much there. Winter wasn't really a thing. So this is a list for pretty much you guys, out there in the hotter weather. But yeah, there's a lot of fragrances in here I don't really talk about that I own. So I thought it would be fitting to go ahead and get them put in this list. Not really in any sort of order, but we're going to go ahead and get started. At the number 10 spot, it's going to be Creed's Bois de Portugal. So spring, kind of like spring and fall. This is where I kind of start wearing my fougères and my chiffres a little bit more. Just with the temperature fluctuations, and I just think it's fitting. Like it's not too hot to wear them, but it's also not too cold. Even though I still kind of wear them in the cold and the heat, it just kind of depends on the fragrance. But Bois de Portugal is one that it's starting to grow on me a bit more. Yep, it's a classic, mature scent. But I think I'm in my mature era now, where I'm actually enjoying these fragrances and I don't really find them redundant. So you might see a few of those or a few of these in this video. So that was at the number 10 spot. At the number 9 spot, it's going to be another one that smells pretty similar to Bois de Portugal, but it's different enough for myself to not want to sell it. It's going to be Tom Ford's Beau de Jour. Very similar for sure, but I mean, let's say you're not really into these kind of fragrances, these type of fragrances. Then maybe one of these is more than enough for you. But I'm actually enjoying these fragrances, so there's enough of a difference for me to keep it. Haven't given it too much wearings. I've worn it maybe I think one time. But I'm really enjoying it. I don't really remember how much it lasted on my skin, but still a really good fragrance, and that's going to be Beau de Jour by Tom Ford. Again, out of the two, I would say this one's probably the fresher out of the two. I haven't given it enough wearings, but I think Bois de Portugal is a little bit more powdery than Beau de Jour. At least as of, from what I remember of wearing Bois de Portugal, and then wearing Beau de Jour and just spraying it. Next, this is probably going to be one of the darker scents in this list. I just realized there's something. You can see something right here. I'll go ahead and hide that real quick. This is going to be a darker fragrance. I did wear this in the cold, but I feel like it's going to perform better during the spring. Maybe this would be also a pretty good fall scent. It's going to be Fougère d'Argent. This is not the loudest projecting fragrance, but I also wore it on a day that it was maybe 10 degrees. It was below 20 for sure. It did last a while. I'm just not sure how much it projects exactly. This is like a dark Fougère fragrance, kind of. It's like a spicy Fougère. I'm trying to think of what Tom Ford to relate it to, but don't really have anything that's going off the top of my mind right now. But yeah, Fougère d'Argent, definitely looking to wear this more often. Enjoyed the wearing, the few wearings I've given it so far. But when it starts warming up over here, I definitely want to wear this more often. We got 2 Tom Fords. I think that's pretty much all the Tom Fords I got in this list, but let's go ahead and keep going. Let's see, we did one cheap, expensive. Okay, so you know what? We'll do another expensive one, right? Let's go ahead and show off a little bit. Homage Beach Hut Man. So Homage Beach Hut Man, it's a weird one. I believe it's discontinued. It might still be pretty easy to find. This, to me, I'm surprised. Okay, honestly, I'm surprised I didn't sell this fragrance when I first bought it. I enjoyed it, but it was kind of, do I enjoy it enough to own it? I gave it multiple wearings actually, trying to figure out if I enjoyed this fragrance. I just think since it was discontinued, or it is discontinued, I didn't feel like, let's say I wanted to come back to it, there's not an option for me to come back. So I just wanted to keep it and make sure I actually hated it, or not hated it, or, I wanted to actually make sure I wanted to sell it before I actually sold it. So kept it. Now smelling the cap, when I was picking the fragrances to make this video, I smelled the cap on this one. I'm like, definitely got to start wearing this one more in the spring. I didn't give it enough wearings. That's not exactly where I expected it to go. Very realistic leaf smell. Yeah, it's I don't even know how to describe it, but really realistic. I'm like, what comes to my mind is like those really thick leaves that are mostly like in tropical areas. It's like one of those leaves. That's pretty much what this kind of gives off. But yeah, that's at the number 10, 9, 8, 7 spot. I feel like I spent too much time talking about that fragrance. Now let's go ahead and get back into a fragrance is a little cheaper. It's going to be at the Barber's. So for you guys that don't know, I used to own this fragrance, sold it, and now I picked it back up. This is a discontinued fragrance. This was very hard to find, actually. I found it for a pretty good price and decided to buy it. Definitely missed it when I didn't have it in the collection. Nothing really that smells like this. Another, I guess, barbershop fougere fragrance, but this is a very authentic smelling barbershop fragrance, like if you're actually at the barbershop. Obviously, I have not been at the barber's for a while now. Don't know, well, if I go cut my hair, it's not at the barbershop, and I do my own beard and stuff. So obviously, as you can see, didn't even have to guess, because look at me, right? But anyways, yeah, at the barber's. Reminds me of when I used to get my hair cut, right? When I had short hair. So leather seat, pretty much, right? Where you're sitting at that leather seat, the shaving cream, some of the aftershave that they use. It's like all in this. Maybe even a little bit of that powder that they use when they're, whooping your ass with that one thing, that brush. It's all pretty like replica. This was actually a very interesting fragrance for when I was pretty early into my fragrance journey, somewhat. Nothing that has come close to smelling like this. So this is definitely unique. If you're not into fougères or barbershop scents yet, I would definitely recommend, if you could find something that smells like this, or maybe if you can find this one, I definitely recommend you picking this up. All right, let's see. What should we go with? Typical stuff. Just a little bit of. There's some things that aren't as typical. This is going to be another dark fragrance for the spring. It's a fragrance that I have worn in the cold. I got this fragrance in December for Christmas. It's one of this, it's a good performer in the winter, but I think it's going to be better. In the spring, when it's like cooler, kind of, but it's still not too hot yet. This is going to be Absolute Aventus. So yeah, Absolute Aventus did fine for me in the winter. Like I said, lasted. I don't really remember how much it lasted, but I remember it wasn't a weak performer at all. But I feel like this fragrance would definitely stand out in the spring. I'm not exactly too sure when this fragrance was released originally. For right now, this is the fragrance that makes me want to, it's like I guess it's because it's a new version of Aventus, but it got me excited about Aventus again. Aventus Cologne did too. But Absolute Aventus is, I'm just into those kind of fragrances right now with the darkness, like a Sauvage Elixir. Um, those kind of, that darkness in those fragrances. I'm glad Creed did this to Aventus. Yeah, I mean, I wish they would do this more to like another fragrance that they did on this list. This might actually be a $1 million idea for later. I'll tell you guys what my idea is for this fragrance whenever it comes up, but you'll have to wait and see. I'll make this the last fragrance now just so you can stay watching. It's 10 minutes and I still need 4 more fragrances. So that was at the number 5 spot. At the number 4 spot, we're going to go ahead and go with Ombre Nuit by Dior, the Privé line. Classic man scent. This is in the aspect of Xerjoff's 40 Knots. I think Xerjoff's 40 Knots smells similar to Noir Extreme. I believe it's the Parfum. Those fragrances are pretty similar to me. This is in that aspect, but out of the 3, for me, this is the best one. For you guys that know, I own 40 Knots. I didn't think it was that special. Noir Extreme from Tom Ford, I think it's better than that one from sampling it and going to Whistle for or whatever and trying it out. But Ombre Nuit for sure is the best version of this DNA that makes me not want to purchase the Tom Ford. It makes me glad that I got rid of 40 Knots. So another fragrance that I think it's this. I don't really remember how it performed in the winter. I haven't really worn it too much, but I definitely know that this is going to be a beast in the spring. I've kind of been holding off on wearing it too much, but I feel like the spring is going to be the time to wear this fragrance. I think the summer would be a little too hot for it, but I think the spring might be the perfect time. Next, at the number 3 spot, we're going to go ahead and go with maybe some people would call this like the king of the spring or something. I have no idea. I was a hater of this fragrance for a little bit. Not too bad, but MFK's Gentle Fluidity Silver. There's a Molinard fragrance that smells very similar. So if you're looking to save your money, look up in Fragrantica, the Molinard fragrance that smells similar. You'll find it. I think it was like Eles Dior or something. I don't remember exactly what it is. This is going to be a great spring summer fragrance. This is probably the freshest fragrance I have on this list. Very clean smelling. I believe it's juniper berries on the top that you get. A lot of people get off put by that juniper berry. It has like a clean musky dry down. That's where the fragrance for most people gets better in the dry down. I enjoy the opening. I enjoy the dry down. Also lasts a long time. As in, I got this in the winter and it lasts in the winter. I know for sure in the spring and the summer, this is going to be a way better fragrance. So I'm looking forward to wearing this in the spring as well. Next, we're going to go, you know what? This is probably the king of the spring. If we're honestly talking, this is the best one for the spring. Creed Green Irish Tweed. So Green Irish Tweed is another one of those that when I first got it, didn't really impress me. Took a few times for me to enjoy it, actually. I've smelled an Armoff cologne before, like years ago. I forgot what it was called. I think it was like Armoff. I don't remember what it was, but it was like a triangle blue bottle with a leather thing around it. I smelled it on. Well, I used to work at a dealership. I smelled it on one of my finance managers, where he gate kept that fragrance for me for a while. Then one day he finally told me what the fragrance was. He told me it was the Armoff or whatever. I didn't know about clones at the time. This was maybe, how long ago? That's maybe 5 years ago now, 4 years ago. And yeah, the Armoff smelled pretty good on him. I bought it for myself. I hated it. Very synthetic, very headache inducing. Then when I got Alheimer Mines Carbon Edition, my girl really enjoyed it. It brought me back to that fragrance, the Armaf fragrance. I was kind of put off by it for a little bit. But with how much she loved it, I kind of kept on wearing it. I did start to enjoy it more, to actually look into buying a green, actually buying green Irish tweed. Because I'm like, okay, if I start enjoying this clone, the original has to be way better. And that was the case. This is way less synthetic, way less, I don't get headaches wearing this fragrance. It does last really long, but it's not as overwhelming as the clones are. Maybe it's just the higher materials, that they use kind of helps it not be so screechy. I feel like it was like it was a harsh fragrance to wear. Now, for the $1 million idea that I have here. Now, YSL, if you make something about what I say, I'm just saying, I would love money, but guess what? We know it's not gonna happen. I would just love a free bottle. If you make this, I would love a free bottle. That's all I'm asking for. Tuxedo, right? Tuxedo, not the best in the winter. Really good. This is going to be really good in the spring. But imagine they darken this up, right? Oh no, that kind of sounds kind of stupid. Like I was going to say, like instead the flanker version of it, instead of it being tuxedo, it could be like black tux, and it's a black bottle. And then they could have they darken it up like they did, Sauvage Elixir is, or Absolute Aventus, darken up that DNA. Ooh. Now, stay with me. That's what I'm saying. If you have any kind of version of Tuxedo, Kiss Men for Men, Roaches Eau de Parfum, just imagine a very dark version of it. I feel like they should get started working on that right now. I feel like I could, you know what? I don't know, just give me 50% off on a bottle. I'll pay the rest. I don't know. I would pay a lot of money for that. But they're definitely not going to see this video. That's for sure. And they're definitely not going to go 17 minutes in to watch this portion of the video. But yeah. Of course, the dogs are playing out there, just running around. It's only it's only 6:30 in the morning. Got out of work a few hours ago. And I'm just making this video. Dogs, they're like, yeah, it's time to play, So, anyways, these are my top 10 fragrances that I'm looking to wear for the summer. These are some fragrances that I really talk about. It has been cold here in Buffalo for a while now. It is still cold, and it's still going to be cold for a while. Right now it's snowing actually, and it's going to get down to 8 degrees. So, yeah. We'll see how long it takes for me to actually get to wear these, but hopefully it's soon. Even if there's a day that we get that's in the 40s, guess what? I'm pulling one of these bad boys out. Don't care. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Please leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what fragrances you're looking to wear for the spring. And that's all. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one, guys.